Hello, please. I'm very sorry. Hello, please. Can you hear me? Hello, please. Can you hear me? Now let's start by creating a table. Let's create a table. Let's say I want to create employee ID, or let's create employee department. Trying to work on how to create a table called employee department. So let's create employee department. So I'm going to write the script now. So I'm going to let's create let's say ID, let's say ID, and let's use this int is integer, and I'm going to have my primary key, and we are going to have employee name. So I'm going to write my employee name like this, and I'm going to say the variable character should be just 50. So hello, please can you hear me? So I want to create a table. I want to create a table. I want to create a table now. I want to create a table. Can you hear me now? Create a table. Please, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Please, you can send your favorite emoji if you can hear me. Okay, now please, I'm very sorry. Let's start. So I'm very sorry. Let's start. Okay, now I want to make the variable character to be 50. So I'm using 50. The reason why I'm using 50 is because any data I want to input into this table cannot pass 50. It cannot pass 50. It cannot pass 50. So that is the meaning of the 50 that I put there. So if you can hear me, you can just send your reaction so that I will know that we're on the same page. And what I'm going to do now is I want to create a table for employee department. So what I will do here now is that I already opened a parenthesis. So here now I will close the parenthesis. And after closing the parenthesis, I'll put a colon. So now to run this, this is the script for creating employee table. Now to run this script now, I either click here to execute or I press my control and enter. So let's do that now. then it's going to work. Now I have created my table. I have created a table. Now, if you look at it very well, you are going to see it that the table was created successfully. Now, if you look at this place, I opened a particular script before, and it was showing me some of the things of the work that I've done. Now, what I will need to do now is I want to try as much as possible to remove this, so we won't have a distraction. These are some of the work that I have done. So let's remove it so that we have a direct focus. Now, I want to show you what I've done. Now, I want to put a comment. I want to put a comment. I want to put a comment. Now, these are some of the work that I've done. Okay, let me put the comment directly. Now, in SQL, for us to put a comment, we just need a slash, and we also need a star. So I have put comment on this. The reason why I'm putting comment is because I don't want the script to work. I don't want the script to work. What I just need to do is that I want to create another table. I want to create another table. I want to create another table. So I'm going to write create. I'm sorry, I did not close this. I have to close it, and I will have create table, and I'm going to use employee status. Employee status. So I'm going to open a parenthesis, and I'm going to say um I'm going to have first name. I'm going to have first name, first name. I'm going to have integer, then primary key, and I'm going to have last name, and I'm going to have please, if you can hear me, you can send a reaction or your favorite emoji. So I want to create another table. That is what we are doing now. So let's say first name ID and last name ID. Then it's going to be integer. It's going to be integer, and let's say I'm going to finish creating this table. And what I'll do is this: I'm going to close this parenthesis, and I'll put full colon, and this is what I'm going to have. I'm going to run it, and for me to run it, I'm going to, like I said before, I'm going to press Shift with Enter. Unless we encounter a particular error because we do not declare the variable character. So let's declare the variable character. I'm going to use 50 also. I'm going to use 50, so I'm going to create it. So I've created the employee status. If you can see it here, we need to refresh. After refreshing, it is created. So let me open the employee status. This is the table. First name ID, last name ID, and this is employee department, and this is ID and employee name. So what I need to do now is this. I'm going to insert I'm going to insert values. If you look at this table that I created, there is no values. There is no value. So I'm going to put a value in it. And what I'm going to do now, because our time is fast spent, I'm going to, because I'm using my square workbench, I'm going to do it directly. I'm going to do it directly. What I mean is this: I'm going to input values here now, and we see it, and it will show us the SQL script directly. That's one thing about my SQL workbench. I'm going to do it directly, and what I will do now is this: I'm going to press 1, and employee name, I can put Daniel, my name, Daniel. So I can put 2. The employee name, I can put Pelumi. So the 3, I can put Ayo. This is another alternative way of inserting value into table. So number 4, I will stop at 4. I will put let's use a name. Let's use Kenny. So I'll put Kenny. And what I will now do, because of this employee department, I'm going to press apply. Now, if we look at this now, this created the script that I'm supposed to write immediately. I'm supposed to show how to write all this, but then there's no time. There's no time. So I'm just trying to show us this is the script. So what I will need to do now is that I'm going to press apply. I'm going to press apply. So after applying, it is successful. SQL script was successfully applied to the database. Finish. So I have done it. So we can see it here. So if we can hear me, just send your favorite emoji. Just send your favorite emoji. I'm going to send my own. So I'm going to input value for the employee department that I created. So I just need to press here. Now this is the employee department. So going to the employee status. Now there's nothing in the employee status. So what I will need to do now is that I will just make sure from my end here, directly I will input it. Directly I will input it. Now the first name ID. Let's assume that the status, the hierarchy of each of the employee in that company, they have their unique ID that they can use to also represent their name. Let's say, for example, like this department that I have here. Now we have number one, Daniel, employee name is Daniel. Number two, we have Pelumi. Number three, we have Ayo. And number four, we have Kenny. Now let's assume that this employee name and the ID here, they have hierarchy. No, there is no organization that does not have hierarchy. Now let's assume that the Daniel that is here, the status of his hierarchy is one. Now his last name, let's assume that it has two. Let's assume that it has two as last name ID. Now that's let's say the organization has a unique code. So I'm going to say the employee department that is here, Pelumi. Let's assume that he also has two. He has two. Now let's see that the ID of Pelumi is three. Please, you can send in your favorite emoji if we're on the same page. Now let's go back to this employee department. Ayo is number three. So I'm going to put three here, and Ayo last name ID is four. So I'm going to go to the last person, which is Kenny. Kenny has ID 4. Kenny has ID 4. And let's say the last name ID is 5. Now I am done with 1 to 4, like we have done in the employee department. And I will appreciate if our favorite emoji can also come in. So I'll press apply. Thank you very much. I can see our favorite emoji coming in. I'll click apply. So this is the SQL script that I'm supposed to write. and this is going to be very, very like prolong our time if I am to type all this, insert into employee status, first name, last name, values, blah blah blah. So this is going to take time. So MySQL Workbench is not there to help us to input our values directly, and we are going to see the review of the SQL script to be applied to the database that we have created. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to press apply. Now it is showing us that applying SQL script to the database is successful. It is successful. Now what I'm going to say now, I'm going to press finish. I've pressed my finish, and it is already created. If I go back to refresh, at opposite my schema, schema is database. If I press refresh, it's going to refresh. So let's go back to our employee department. Now we have our values. This is the data that is created. And let's go back to our employee status. Now this is a value that is being created. Now we have been able to execute creating a database using my SQL workbench, and we are also been able to create tables, because tables are the fundamental structures within a database where data is stored. Yes, and it enables table. Each table is made up of rows and columns, and we can only um, insert data into a table once a table is created by using the insert statement. If we notice very well, when I was trying to do my SQL workbench, after inserting all these values, when I click apply, it shows a review of the insert statement where we are inserting into the created database. Now what we are having here to do now, we have done that. So what is our next agenda in our outline is how to merge tables. It's how to merge tables, how to append tables is also the next, and using cat function and then deleting tables. Please, if you can also hear me, I would like to see your favorite emoji. I would like to see your favorite emoji. Okay, thank you very much. So what we need to do now is how to do our merging and how to append. And what's the meaning of merging? Okay, let me explain. For us to merge tables, it means that we are trying to bring those tables together, like we are trying to join the columns to come together, and appending is like we are trying to put a table at the top and one table to also be under. And the cast function is used to change the data type of a particular table. Let's assume I have date of birth. I can use the cast function to change it to I can use the class function to change it to birth date instead of date of birth. Then deleting tables, we can use the drop function. So let's try to do it, and let's see how we are going to have it. So let's do it now. I'll go back to where I'm writing my script. This is it. So I'm going to comment out this also. So I'm trying to comment it out so that it will not run. So already I have commented it out. Now I want to write. I can also use this as comment. This double slash, I know double like a tick continuous line. I can say example of inner join. So I'm going to say now we have different type of join. We have inner join, we have outer join. So and I'm going to use inner join for this time around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the SQL script. Remember that I said when creating a table, after creating a table in MySQL Workbench, it is easy for us to input our data directly, and we press apply in the table. Then we are going to see the preview of everything that is going to that we are supposed to type. But now we need to type. There is no shortcut here. We just have to write the script out. So I'm going to start with select. So select. Now, if we remember, the name of our table is employee status employee department. So I'm going to say select employee. Now we start with employee department. Now employee department. Now then I'll put dot. Now at the front of the employee department, there is something at the top which is ID. We have ID and employee name as the column. So I will come here and I will press ID. Now, after pressing the ID, I will also say that what is also another table that I also have is this I have, like I said we have ID and we also have employee name. Now we need to be very careful of this spelling. My employee name is EMPLY, then underscore name. So I'm going to put a comma here. I'm going to put a comma. So I'm going to call that, and I'm going to say employee department. Then I have dot. Then I'm going to have EMPLY. then this is employee name. Now I'm telling this that it should select employee department dot id and also employee department, which is also involving employee name. And I also tell it that it should also go to my employee status. So I'm going to say employee status. So I'm going to employee status, and I'll go to my employee status. What is in my employee status? I will check. I have first name ID. I have last name ID. First name ID, last name, everything in um lowercase. So I'm going to put those. So first first name, then ID. I'll put a comma. I'll come down and I will say employee employee status. I'm very sorry I did not put a comma here. I'm going to have employee status. Then I'm going to put dot. Then what I have in my employee status I will check. Last underscore name ID. I have it here already. So I'll now say that you should take it from okay. I need to create a table again that will help us to join everything. Let's quickly create a particular table. Our time is fast spent. So I'm going to have create table, and I can use it as employee enrollment. I'm going to have employee, then hyphen enroll. Let's have enroll. Let's have enroll. Then in it, I'm going to have enrollment ID. Before that, I have to have a parenthesis, and I'll come down and I'll say I'll have enroll ID. Enroll ID. Let's say we have ID, and it's going to be an integer. The data type is going to be an integer for the primary key. I'm going to have a comma. Then I'm going to have we have ID. We have ID already, and the ID is an integer. It's going to be an integer. That's the data type. Then we also have, let's say we have department. Let's say we have department ID. Let's say we have department ID, or let's say we have status ID. Let's use status ID. Status, then underscore, then we have ID. Then it's going to also be integer. It's going to be integer, and let's say we are also going to have another one, which is let's say we have department name. Let's say we have department name. Department name. That department name, I'm going to give it a variable character of 50. A character of 50. I'm going to close the parentheses, and I'm going to also close. I open a bracket from the onset. I'm going to close the bracket, and I'm going to put my full colon. Having okay, say is not a valid. Let's use this. If it is not valid, let's use this.